The McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit is our first case as part of the most bizarre cases in trial history. Stella Liebeck was a 79-year-old widow that lived in Albuquerque. In 1992, Stella and her grandson went through the drive-thru at McDonald's and got breakfast and coffee, and they pulled into the parking lot. She put the coffee between her knees and lifted the lid off, and in the process of doing that, spilled the coffee, and all of the hot liquid went into the sweatsuit that she was wearing and pooled in the seat. The severity of the burns caused Stella Liebeck to go into shock, and her grandson immediately took her to the emergency room. She was burned over 16% of her body, and 6% of the burns were third degree. She was in the hospital for a week. Medical bills were $10,000. So Stella reached out to McDonald's and asked to be reimbursed. McDonald's refused several times, so Stella decided to go to court. In trial, McDonald's attorney Tracy Jenks argued that Liebeck bore personal responsibility because she spilled the coffee on herself, and the McDonald's coffee wasn't any hotter than the coffee at other fast food restaurants. McDonald's had a really strong reason for why they brewed their coffee at the temperature they did. It was an industrial standard based on the maximum extraction of the flavor in the maximum holding temperature. But the jury saw how liquid at that temperature can scald when they were shown graphic photos of Liebeck's legs and burned groin. After 7 days of testimony and 4 hours of deliberation, jurors unanimously agreed to award Stella $200,000 in compensatory damages. But because she caused the spill, they reduced that to $160,000. Jurors then set punitive damages to send the message to McDonald's to turn down the temperature of the coffee. They based the punitive damage amount on the revenue from 2 days of coffee sales, that is in $2.7 million. Again, $2.7 million. The size of the award got the media's attention, but it overshadowed the rest of the story. In fact, the judge reduced the award to about $650,000, and there was a later settlement. The case was shown in the press as a frivolous lawsuit, as a chance to win the lottery if you got hot coffee. You decide for yourself if this was a frivolous lawsuit, but it will go down in history as one of the strangest decisions in personal injury cases in the United States.
The next case in this video also makes it one of the more bizarre cases in history in the United States, but relates to deceptive trade laws. In Watson vs. Butter Popcorn, plaintiffs Wayne and Mary Watson filed this case against 4 defendants: Dillon Companies, Gilster Mary Lee Corporation, Inter-American Products, and the Kroger Company. The reason? Watson was diagnosed with respiratory problems in 2007 after years of inhaling the smell of artificial butter on the microwaved popcorn he would eat daily. Watson asserted he ate about 2 bags of popcorn per day for 10 years. Doctors diagnosed him with popcorn lung, a disease that is more commonly seen in popcorn plant workers. Bronchiolitis obliterans is a rare lung disease that is identified by fixed airway obstruction. When inflammation and scarring occur in the smallest airways of the lung, it can lead to severe and disabling shortness of breath. Defendants argued plaintiffs failed to produce sufficient evidence upon which a reasonable jury could find a deceptive trade practice or a significant public impact as required by the law. At trial, the jury heard testimonial evidence that microwave popcorn plants owned by the defendants had been investigated by NIOSH, a division of the Centers for Disease Control. NIOSH found and published reports on lung disease found among the workers exposed to diacetyl. Additionally, expert witnesses testified that exposure to diacetyl vapors causes lung disease in both plant workers and consumers. There was also testimony that billions of bags of microwave popcorn containing diacetyl were sold to the public from approximately the mid-1980s until defendants removed diacetyl from their products in 2008. The jury found that the defendants violated the Colorado Uniform Deceptive Trade Practices Act by failing to give plaintiff Wayne Watson and other consumers adequate warnings on their microwave popcorn products containing diacetyl. On September 19, 2012, the jury reached its verdict, awarding the plaintiff more than $7 million in damages.
Hello! This is a case that makes me think everything is upside down or inside out, but here we go. I will try to make it as brief and painless as possible. The year was 2009. In Martinez versus Gangasani, a 31-year-old man named William Martinez went to cardiologist Dr. Srinivasulu Gangasani, complaining of what were described as increasing episodes of new chest pain that radiated into his arm. Gangasani determined that the man was at high risk of having clogged heart arteries and ordered a nuclear stress test to be done 8 days later. However, 7 days after and 1 day before the stress test, Martinez was involved in a threesome. I know, a threesome! For any details, please refer to tabloids. Point is, in doing so, Mr. Martinez died. This could just as well end it here, but the plot thickens when the Martinez family decides to sue the doctor. Talk about causation. Plaintiff's lawyers Rod Edmond and Tricia Hoffler, who represented the estate of William Martinez, argued that Gangasani failed to take a proper medical history and failed to inform the patient to stop all physical activity until the test was completed. Most surprisingly, the jury agreed and awarded Martinez family $3 million in damages. The estate had sued for $5 million, but reduced it after determining Martinez was 40% liable for his own death. This is one of those cases where I wish I was not a lawyer.